Second part of the Philippines under the American administration as a territory. Since the price of silver had driven up the cost of the silver and the silver coins to being more than face, the coins had to be recoined in new, smaller sizes with also a lower alloy. Instead of 90% proportionate in weight to the peso, this would be only 75% silver. Here's the 1907. And Philadelphia, which got back into the act of making coins for circulation, and San Francisco made this coin for circulation. So they didn't bother with minor coins at all. They didn't bother with proof sets at all. This was a year to devote all their energies they had for Philippine coins to replacing all the silver coins that had been large and now worth melting down because there's more silver than the worth of the coin. So here's the 50 cent from Philadelphia and the 50 cent from San Francisco. The 1 peso only came from one mint, San Francisco. A couple of Philadelphia trial strikes are known to exist, but that was not really released and it's not an official coin. The peso, unlike the others, was 80% silver instead of 75%. They'd all gone down from 90%. Well, 1907 done, the silver has been replaced with new, smaller silver. We could go back to a new normal. And once again, the proof sets and the minor coins are restored. There's a 1908 half cent. Okay, and the 1908 1 cent. Yeah. Now, if you look carefully, you can see that's a very large date. Philadelphia had a larger date like the earlier coins, whereas when San Francisco started making these for circulation, the date is discernibly smaller. As a matter of fact, there's kind of a nexus between that coin and the 1908 Indian head penny. If you look at the year 1908 in both of those, they're absolutely the same. The digits, the size, the spacing, even the curvature. 1908, as we know, was the first year that San Francisco began making making minor coins, beginning with this copper Indian head cent. So that was not only the Indian head cent, but also the Philippine cent. So it made sense to strike them on this coast and then ship them across the sea, not strike them in Philadelphia and then bring them across the United States and then put them on a boat and ship them across the sea, like they could already do with the silver coins. So here's the 5 cent, again a proof-only coin. Now the silver coins are made in their new smaller sizes. The proofs are smaller. But there's the 10 cent from 1908. And the smaller size proof coin, regular coin from San Francisco for circulation. There's the 20 cent. Proof. 20 cent San Francisco struck circulation strike 1908. So they're continuing to make all the silver coins for circulation. Again, proof. It's all smaller size, lower alloy. Though on the proofs that scarcely mattered, but they wanted to follow the standards. Here's the 1908S 50 cent. And the 1908 peso, 80% instead of 75%. And of course, San Francisco continued to make the peso in 1908. Those are pretty common. 1909, of course, another new normal. The proof sets go away. So there's still the 1 cent. Made at San Francisco. The 10 cent in rather small numbers. I'm rather fortunate to have one like this, as good as this. 5 cent, there's no 5 cent. There's a 20 cent though. And 50 centavo. Little did anyone know that this would be the last year for the 50 centavo for quite a number of years. And there's the peso. So 1910, a few interesting things happen. Okay, there's a nice looking 1 cent. Okay, no 5 cents still. The 10 cent is missing. Some trial strikes are known to exist, but what few there were lost in the war. And nobody has an authenticated 1910 as 10 centavo. There's really no way to verify them because nobody has one that they know with a clear pedigree. Anyway, here's the 1910 20 centavo. And now there's no 50 cent. They stopped making them. But the peso continues right along. There's the 1910s peso. 1911. More of the same. There's the 1 cent. Still no 5 cent. But there's a 10 cent. Okay, rather shabby looking 20 cent, but at least it's there to show that it's made. The 50 cent is still gone. The peso still exists, however. And finally, 1912. There's a 1 cent. But you can still make out the S. No 5 cent. The 10 cent, again, this seems to be a hard one for me to find. I only have this rather shabby specimen that it looks like somebody tried to punch a hole in. So, there's the 20 cent. Put that right where the S is there, little flashy lights where the S is. Okay, no 50 cent. And there's the peso. So that represents the next phase of the coinage of American coinage. This, of course, is all of these coins are, unlike most of this category in the Red Book, since the Philippines was considered a part of the United States, a territory at this time, or colony, if you will. So they are listed in the Red Book, unlike later coins that are not of the Philippines, and of course most others other than the Hawaiian coins. So you could say, well, are these really foreign since Philippines is part of the U.S.? Well, it's still it's overseas, so I'm counting overseas as anything foreign, even when it's part of the country, legally speaking. The other thing is that there was no intention that the Philippines would remain with the United States permanently. So the intention was that they would someday become their own nation and they could then inherit all these coins and, as we'll see later on, the minting facilities needed to make them. So that finishes out this era.